Hey, guys and gals, it's me, your old buddy, Mr. Moose, and today we are back with something new to check out. This is a game called Wrench. It is a new race car mechanic simulation game that just came out this week in early access on Steam. Now, the developers reached out to me and said, hey, you like car mechanic simulator, you might like this. So they gave me a key, and I thought today we would check it out and see what kind of game it is. Now, if you're a fan of Car Mechanic Simulator or My Summer Car, you might really enjoy this because from what I've seen, it's got a lot of detail in it. It doesn't have a lot of cars, so it's not like Car Mechanic where you've got all kinds of different automobiles that you can restore and everything. You're focused on being a mechanic for a race team. So you're limited in the cars that you work on, but the work that you do is very detail oriented. So it does seem like it's a pretty cool game. It's designed to be played in VR, but you can also play this in desktop mode using your mouse and keyboard. Now, I don't have a Vive or a Rift or anything else like that, so I'm going to be playing the desktop mode. But I got to tell you, it looks pretty impressive. If you do have a VR system, the game's pretty neat on it as well. But anyways, let's dive into it today. Now, there is a little bit of a grind in the game. You start off as a lowly mechanic assistant. So early on in the game, there's not a whole lot you get to do. If we go to the gameplay overview and scroll down, we'll see the levels that are in the game. At level 1, we're going to start off just doing fluids and tires. As we advance to level 2, we include brakes and shocks. At level 3, we do suspension. Level 4, we start working on cylinder heads. And at level 5, that's when we get into the engine internals and we start to build the engine out. Now, let me just go ahead and remind you, this game is early access. It's still under development. So there may be some things that haven't been added into the game that may come along in the future. I personally would love to see gearbox get added into the game, as well as, work on the differentials. Who knows? That may be coming in the future. I do hope that is, but I don't know right off the bat. Who knows? That may also be under suspension as well, but would love to see that. But I do know that the developers are looking for this to be not only just a video game, but they wanted to get a level of detail in it so it could be a teaching aid as well. They were even saying there were parts of it they want to get into schools. So who knows? It could become quite the detailed game. And from what I've seen so far, it looks promising. So anyways, hope you guys enjoy the video. If you do, make sure you click on the like button down below. And if you want to see more videos on Wrench, make sure you leave a comment down below as well. All right, so let's get started. The first thing we should do is here on our tablet, check out our car details and see what we need to do. Now, remembering that at level 1, the only things we're going to be doing are tires and fluids. So right off the bat, we can see that our tires are in pretty rough shape. They have a life expectancy of 12 hours. They're already up to 14, so those are going to need to be replaced. All 4 of them are pretty rough. Our oil filter's in good shape. It's only 4 of 10 hours. But if we look at our engine oil is 8 of 10 hours. We're probably going to need to change the oil. And since we're going to change the oil, we might as well change the oil filter, because I've always been told if you change the oil, change the filter. So that's the route we're going to go with that. The transmission oil, pretty old as well. It's 37 of 40. So we're probably going to want to change that as well. And the brake fluid, while it looks okay, I'm probably going to change the brake fluid too, just so that we can go through it and see how it's done. So, I mean, after all, we are checking out the game. I'm really not playing to play it for the value of the game as much as I'm playing it to see how the mechanics work in the game. So we'll do that as well and check all that out. So anyways, there's our car details. Other things that we have in here, when we get later on in the game, we have a race monitor that we can use. Not really sure how that works because I haven't gotten that far in the game. We have a lift where we can raise and lower the vehicle, which we need to get it up off the ground anyways so we can service it. So let's go ahead and raise it up in the air. And that looks about good. What else is in here? Inspector that gives us the ability to inspect parts. We'll get into that in a little bit. And I'll go over that with you. Catalog shows you all the parts that are in here, and there are tons of things, man. I mean, bell housing, bolt, front brake, dust shield, I mean, if we look at all the parts that are in here, there are tons of different parts in here. Fasteners, connecting rods, pistons, crankshaft plate, water pump gasket. Oh, look, a gasket. You'll see that in every video game that's out there right now. Does it have like bearings for the crankshaft? Rod cap, rod bearing. I'm in love with this game already. Wow. Rear main seal retainer. This could have a ton of promise. Front oil pan seal for around your main. Oh, man. I'm seeing things that look really good right off the bat. I mean, we haven't had, like in car mechanic, we didn't have all the gaskets and everything that we were thinking needed to be in there. Exhaust valve, which means you're rebuilding the heads. That's good. Yeah, I'm interested in this. This will be pretty cool. Even like My Summer Car, as detail oriented as it was with the engine, it still lacked a lot of gaskets and stuff like that you should have put into it. So just the fact that they're in this game show promise to me. And again, just so you guys see, if you are on like Vive, it's got the controls laid out for you. If you're on a Riff, it gives you the information for Riff. And again, I'm just going to play a mouse and keyboard because I don't have those fancy little toys yet. I don't know if I ever will, but anyways. All right, so underneath here, so we're going to work on the transmission and the engine, which means we need to drain some fluids out of them. And to do that, we have some tools at our disposal. We've got these handy dandy little ratchets. They're like a 3-in-1 tool in the game. They work as a ratchet, as a power ratchet, and as a torque wrench all at the same time. And there's 3 different sizes that you can use. Hitting 2, we've got a paint gun, as well as we have an inspector tool. So if we come up and click on something, we can inspect it. Like this one shows me the oil pan. And if you come into the oil pan, you can go to the wear guide. And on the wear guide, you can, crank up how much wear and tear is on something. And it will visualize how much wear is on it, which that's a terrible example because apparently the oil pan doesn't have any wear on it. But if we shoot like the tire here and we bring the tire up, it'll show this that we have 9 of 12 hours on this visualization. As we crank it up, it will visualize how much wear there is, like 19 of 12 hours. There's like 23 of 12. It's almost completely bald. There's 24 of 12. And then like what a brand new tire looks like. Pretty cool to give you that. And then it'll also give you your installation information here. So we can see that working in a star pattern, torque the lug nuts to 108 newtons. What is that? Newtons per meter. I don't know. I'm US, so it's always foot-pounds for me. But it's 108 newtons per meter, I think is what that is. You folks who live in Europe, don't kill me. Like I said, I'm American, so everything's in foot-pounds here. All right, so we're going to be taking out the oil drain here, which is 30 newtons. And then we're going to take out the transmission as well. All right, so we know what those are. Let's get rid of that tool so it's not up in our face the whole time. We also have a flashlight that we can use, and the flashlight can be like placed somewhere. Whereas if I just leave it like that, it's going to keep shining the light up in there for me, which is kind of cool. Or I can pick it back up, and then I can just go to the next thing. You got a funnel for putting fluids in. We've got a pan here for collecting fluids. And then we've got a crankshaft lock and a cam lock. I'm sure we'll get into using those down the road. But anyways, first things first, let's get some fluids out of here. We'll start with the transmission, drain it, and then we'll fill it back up. So let's get our oil pan underneath it. That looks pretty good. And then we'll get out, this guy should do the job. If it's blue, it's tight. If it's red, it's loose. So we're going to flip it to red. And again, this works just like a ratchet. So if I wanted to break it free, I could just sit here and ratchet it by moving left and right. Or if I hit R, as you can see, it'll be an electric nut runner. And I can run it straight down like so. Put it away, and then I can reach up here, grab the nut, pull it out, and let all those wonderful fluids drain out, and kind of try to drain out through the pan. But anyways, those are draining. There is another filler nut right up here on the side that we're going to have to get out. So let's get our wrench up here, ratchet up here, get that out. That will also help in drainage. And we'll pull that and just put that down here at the side as well. And let those fluids drain out and get all the way out. Now, once it has stopped streaming out, we will fill it back up. The filling process, a little awkward. It needs a little bit more work to it. But I will show you that in just a second. I think all the fluids are out. So we'll go ahead and put the nut back in. And we used the little scanner device a little while ago. It seems like it's the same for the drain plug. So it's 30 newtons. I'm fighting not to say foot-pounds. I really am. So we'll crank this up to 30 so that we have our breaking point set on our wrench. And if you've ever used a torque wrench, you know that when you set the break point on it, so when you hit that amount of torque on the bolt, the mechanic of the torque wrench breaks free and you can't tighten it anymore. So we'll go ahead and click up on here. We'll use the power feature to snug up the bolt. And then we just kind of have to use the wrench itself, moving in a clockwise motion there. It broke free. So that is torqued up good. And we can go ahead and move the oil pan out of the way. Put the oil pan up here by the motor. And I can go ahead and take the oil out of the engine while I go continue to work on the transmission. So let's put that there. There we go. And we'll get the bolt out of the way. And we'll work on getting transmission fluid in here. So the transmission fluid is put in by this neat little device. And if we read in the tablet here under help, fluid change, there's all kinds of information that will help us out with this. But if we come down here and we read, it tells us to basically take out the fill bolt, connect this in, and then put in the oil from it. And it should take 2 quarts, I think is what I read. Bottom of transmission oil with fluid transfer pump attached. Let's see. Put the brass fitting in of the pump, attach it to the transmission. Fill opening, pump the handle to transfer the fluid. The handle will pump more quickly when the bottle is out of oil. Fill the transmission to 2 quarts. Excessive gear oil will leak from the fill opening. All right, so let's get back here to where our transmission was. And we'll put our little bottle right here. Grab this end of it and stick it up here in the transmission. And then we'll grab the top here. No, not that. I want to grab the bottle here. And we'll start pumping. And I have no idea, like, how much is going in. It looks like you should be able to see the bottle here and see the fill level on it. But it doesn't seem like it changes coloration. So I'm just going to pump until it's... Seems like it ain't doing nothing anymore. I know, that's probably getting you guys dizzy, right? Yeah, it doesn't sound like it's doing anything anymore. So I'm going to assume that that is empty. So we'll grab it. So this basically is like the end of a hose. And they didn't model the whole hose in. I mean, it's pretty neat the way they did it. Just to see if it's got any more in it. Let's do this. Let's grab that. Ain't nothing coming out of it, so it's empty. All right, so and just so I get things out of the way, I'm going to move it over here. So that was 1. I'm going to assume that's 1 quart. So I'm going to get another one and do the same process again. Right, so we'll put it there, grab here, sling that up there, pump, pump, pump. Look away so you don't get like crazy dizzy doing this. Oh man, I had a seizure from watching Moose play this game. Hopefully not. It kind of makes a sound there that sounds like it's empty, so I'm going to assume it is empty at this point. You know, like it has a sound that sounds like it's pumping, and then it has a sound that sounds like it's not. If you've ever done stuff like this, you know that sound. You know what I'm talking about. Right? And if I pump now, there's nothing else coming out of it. So I'm going to assume that is empty. So that's 2 bottles in there. That should be good. So we can grab our nut, or excuse me, at this plug, and put it back in there. And I'm going to assume it's the exact same torque. So we'll get up on there. Wait a minute. Wait. Oh, I was in reverse mode. Put that back in there. There we go. We're still in 30. Switch that to tightening. There we go. And in a clockwise motion. Come on. Uh-oh. See if I can get around here. Come on. This is awkward. Maybe it popped already. I'm going to assume that's torqued up. It actually like it. See, it acts like it pops right there. So I think it is torqued all the way up. All right. So we're going to assume that that part is done and plugged up on the transmission. All right. So the oil is done. We can go ahead and put the plug back into it. And we can get rid of this oil pan because we don't need it anymore. Let's make it vanish away. And we're going to use the same wrench again. So it goes yellow and then red, and then it should pop over when it hits. There it is. So that is torqued. All right, so that is done. And that should get the transmission fluid done. Now we just got to lower the car down and we can put the oil in. So let's go to lift, go down. Put that away. Take the hood off. Let's put it out of the way. Bring the car up just a little bit. It was a little awkward to put in. All right. So we take out the oil cap here. Let that float in the air a little bit. We need to go buy a bottle of engine oil, which again, if you read the information in the tablet, it will tell us that the bottle of oil here holds 5 quarts, but we only need 4. We're also going to go ahead and take the oil filter off real quick. Throw it over here with the floating bottles of goodness over here. I'm going to go into my tablet in a catalog and buy a new oil filter. And they appear in this, like, this little part spawner. You've got 2 versions of it. One is for like bigger parts and one is for little parts. So if you break a fastener, they'll appear in this one. Your bigger parts will show up in this big one. And it can be picked up and moved around the shop as well. So if you don't like where it's at, you grab it and you can move it, you know, wherever you want it, which is pretty different. All right, so we're going to put our funnel in here. We can use C to crouch down a little bit. Get our funnel into place. Then we're going to come over here. We'll take the top off of our oil just by left clicking on it. I was messing around with this earlier and I could not figure out for the life of me how to get the top off of the oil. So and then we can start pouring it in. Now, one thing I've noticed when I was messing around a little bit earlier with this game is if we look at the oil while it's poured in, again, this is a 5-quart bottle. If we look at the side of it, we can see clearly how much oil is in here because on this one it works. It doesn't work on these guys. I mean, if the devs happen to see this, and I will send them an email, you can't see the fill level on these. I've checked and I've checked and I checked. I couldn't see the fill level on those, but you can clearly see the fill level is right here at, if we crouch down, we're just over 4 quarts in here, right? And so if we come up here and this gets a little clunky here. There. You just put it in place and it will pour itself. You don't actually have to pour, but it will pour for itself. But if we let that pour for just a little bit, maybe get that funnel almost filled up, and then we'll check, we'll see how many, and put it back over here and look. Now it's almost halfway empty. If we come and look now, stand up. So we're underneath, we're almost down to 3 quarts on it. I thought that was super cool that they've got that modeled into the game, that you can check that out. I hope they will fix the transmission fluid so that you can see that as well, to see how much fluid you've actually put in there. Because, like I said, I looked and looked and looked and I couldn't see it. So, but I think that's super cool that they've got it. It's also pretty cool that they've got branded bottles of oil in here. So I guess they've worked out a deal with Castrol to get a license to use their brand in the game. Let's see. So we got 1.5 left. We need to do a little bit, but we can also check where we're at by coming to the dipstick, and we see that we're 83%. One other little issue I ran into when I was messing around with it, be very careful putting the dipstick in there. You can accidentally click on the dipstick filled on the dipstick tool, or the dipstick housing or whatever it's called, filler tool, tube, whatever they've got it called in here. And you can accidentally pull it out, and I couldn't figure out for the life of me how to get it back in. So I ended up having to just ditch the game save and give up on it because I couldn't get it to. Oh, I put too much in. I'm at 105. Oh well. Oh, we're gonna pour some oil all over the place. Anyways, so let's get rid of that. Get rid of that. Put the oil cap back on. So you can make some mistakes here. Hopefully the car doesn't blow up because I put too much oil in it. There's nothing I can do with this oil thing other than bring it over here and throw it in the corner as well. So we'll put that over in the corner. So we've got oil. We've got an oil filter. We've, again, we check our oil. It's at 107%. That's a little too much, but oh well. The next thing we need to do is change out all the tires and get rid of those. And then we're also going to do the brakes as well. Even though I don't have to do them, I'm going to do the brakes just so I can show you guys the mechanic on changing out the brake fluid. So let's raise this up just a little bit so it's eye level for us to take all of these off, and we'll get this guy out because it just seems like this is a better one to use. Let's switch that into reverse. And we'll start taking all these off. Depending on how you want to play the game, it's up to you. But I have found, and it plays a little bit different in VR versus in desktop mode. You could leave the lug nuts floating right there and just take the tire off if you want to. And I'm just going to put it over here in the corner because I'm kind of just like to keep my area clean. You can leave those right there where they're at, or you can actually move them out of the way. You can just grab them, push them over here, you know. Floating lug nuts. You can do it however you want to do it. Like I said, it's up to you for your style of play. It's just as easy to leave them floating in midair right in front of the hub as it is to take them off and just, move them out of the way a little bit. I would imagine though, if you're doing a suspension job and you've got or a brake job and you've got to get access to your, to your rotor or something else like that, then you're probably going to want to move them out of the way. But just for a brake, a wheel change like we're going to be doing here, you could just do by leaving them floating right there in front of the hub. Now like I said, again, it plays a little bit different in VR, because in VR, I think from what I saw, the lugs actually stayed with the wrench, and then you actually had to use your right hand had the tool, the left hand had to reach up and take the lug out of the wrench and do something with them. So it does play a little bit different in desktop mode than it does in VR, because in VR I don't think they floated right there in front of it. I think this is something that is different for desktop than it is for VR. So if you're playing this on VR and you're watching this and going, no, that's not the way it is, then it just come to mind that I think I saw somebody play in VR and it was a little bit different. So, all right, so let's get the tire over here. And then while I've got the tires off, we'll go ahead and do the brake job. So the brake job requires a couple of things. It's going to require that we get this handy dandy little brake bottle here. And we'll take it. There's a cash sound effect, but I don't see anywhere where there's like money being charged for anything. I'm just going to put that bottle right there. I'm going to take the cap off of the booster pump there. Going to grab this, connect it to there. And then we're going to pump up, I don't know, about 9 pounds of pressure on this. I'm guessing would be pretty good. So let's pump a little pressure up on the bottle. This beats the way out of, I got to tell you, I've never done it this way, but I'm liking this little device, because if I had one of these in real life, I'd absolutely love it, because I'm normally used to just pouring a whole bunch of brake fluid in there and then coming and bleeding the lines into a collector bottle, and don't have that little pressurized system. So the little pressurized system is kind of cool looking. All right, so we got to do this. We got to come down here and get this hose, and we got to point at that little brass fitting there, which is your bleed nipple, and then get the wrench off the side of this bottle here. There we go. And then now when we look down at that, we can crouch down here to get to it. We can click on that and then just going counterclockwise. We'll open that up just a little bit to bleed off the pressure, and we can see all the air in the line. And the longer we let it bleed, it will get rid of all the air bubbles that are in the line. And once it is running clean, we can shut it off. There's still a little bit of air in there. That looks like it's running clean. Shut that off. Remove our wrench. And then we can grab that bottle that is somehow stuck into the wheel well. And we can move to the next wheel and we'll repeat the process. So we'll grab the hose, manipulate it so that we, come on, get in here and get on that. There we go. And then we have to go back and get the wrench each time that we do this. Right? And then we'll go ahead and, come on. Where'd the wrench go? Make sure we got pressure. Yeah, we still got pressure. Let's try this again. Get in here where I can see what I'm doing. There we go. And we'll get that bleeding out. Let it run all that air out of there. couple little bits still in there, but that looks clean. So we'll go ahead and call that done. That off. And we'll move around to the back rear. And let's grab this. There we go. It flipped around. Now we can put it on there. Grab the wrench. I lost the wrench. Hit the wrong button. So I'm hitting E, or you can hit left mouse button to get the wrench off the bottle. C crouches down so I can get inside the wheel well here a little bit. And then left click on it. And then I'm just moving the mouse to the right to manipulate the wrench, which is cool. I mean, you've got these mechanics where you're actually moving the mouse to the right to turn the wrench to the right, move it to the left to turn it back to the left. So you're actually using the wrench instead of just putting the wrench on there and clicking the mouse button and acting like it. So like there were some things in my summer car that I really liked, like the fact that you had to have the right socket for each nut. And I would love to see that added into this game, right? To where instead of just having a wrench that universally fits each of your nuts and bolts, I would rather actually have a toolbox where I've got to go figure out what the right, socket size or wrench size is for the nut or bolt. I'd like to have that. And if I have to have an Allen key or a Torx bit or something like that, then I've got to go get that and utilize it. But, that part of my summer car was cool. But again, you just clicked. You didn't actually manipulate the wrench. Where in this, you can actually manipulate the wrench. And I think that is super cool. And the details on this, like bleeding the brakes, that's just too cool. The animation is really neat. I think they're onto something here. I like what I'm seeing so far in the game. All right, so I can get rid of that. I could take this, put it back over here. I don't know that I actually have to put it over here because I can't actually get it right back where it was, but we'll put it back over there. And then we'll come up here, pull that piece, put that back in there. And then we can take this bottle and put it over here in the corner with all that stuff. Again, you don't have to. That's just something I'm doing for me. All right. The last thing we need to do is put tires on this thing. So let's go back into the catalog. Now, there's two ways you can buy tires. If I use the tool here and I shot the tire, it would tell me, that I had the status of the particular tire or whatever that I was looking at. Apparently I didn't hit it. Let me hit it again. There, tire. And it shows me that I could purchase a replacement. So I could do it from here, or I can go into the catalog and I can scroll through and find the part that I want, and I can buy it from here. So I'm just going to buy it from here. Get 4 new tires. And we will take those. I'll put 1 on each hub for axle. Let's get that done. Okay, and then we can grab our lug nuts, pump our lug nuts onto the studs. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. Oh, Lord. All right, so we'll move that back out of the way until I'm done with it. Anyways, I'll put the lug nuts onto the studs. All right, and then we have to torque those on. And if we looked again at the inspector and we go to install information, it tells us the torque for the lug nuts is 108. So I'll bring up my tire tool, and each tool has its limitations on these. And the other, like the big silver one, doesn't go over 99. This one is going to be one you're going to have to use for 108, but we're going to have to crank the torque down on it. So we'll set this down to 108. And we should be good to go. So we'll crank that down. I gotta get that body panel back on. Didn't mean to take that off. All right, switch this into install mode. And first thing we'll do, as we would do for legits, would be to click on it and go ahead and snug all these up first. And you can't really do a full star pattern with a 4-bolt rim. But once they're all snugged up, then we can actually torque each one of these. And it should break here any second now. There we go. So that one's torqued. Then we'll go to the one across from it. And there's 108. We'll do this one. There we go. And the last one. All right, so that one's done. All right, so to the back we go. And we've got to seat all of these lug nuts. Even though we didn't put them, like, we didn't move them out of the way, we still have to reseat them. Come on, there we go. I don't have the car quite high enough. It's a little clunky in desktop mode. I think it's probably a bit smoother in VR. But like when I tighten them all down, I have to press the left mouse button to get the tool to come off of them to go to the next one and tighten it up, to snug it up. I don't know if that's, maybe I'm playing the game a little bit different. You know, maybe they're not thinking most people know to snug them up first. They're probably thinking everybody's just going to tighten a nut, torque it, go to the next one, tighten it, and torque it. There we go. Just to double check. Yep, that one's good. That one's good. That one's good. And that one's good. Nice. All right, so same thing on this side. Reseat each of the nuts. There we go. Now we can get our tool, tighten all these up. Where's my impact gun? And we'll torque them. Takes a bit of time to do all these little tasks. But at the end of this job, we should level up to level 2. And we should be able to move on to doing brakes and suspension. So it's not like you've got to do, the grind's not ridiculous. You don't have to do multiple jobs like this for a while before you level up, which is nice. But you'll probably like, on your second job, you'll probably have to do, you know, all this all over again, as well as the brakes and suspension. If I had to do like this same task, you know, just this same set of tasks, if I had to do it 2 or 3 times before doing something new, I'd probably go insane. Oops, I didn't do that right, but oh well. As long as I do my torquing at the same thing, I'm fine. All right, so we'll torque this one. go across and torque this one. There we go. Get the bottom. And then we'll go back and do the top, and we will have all our tires replaced. All right, so the last thing we need to do is put that body panel back on and get the hood back on. Lower the car down. That will make it easier. So we did the transmission, we did the engine. We bled the brakes, put new tires on it. Somehow removed a body panel and put the body panel back on. So at this point we should be good. Now, if we look in the car details up here, it will tell you that part data not updated while the car is on the lift. So even though we've done all the work, it doesn't show it. We have to remove it from the lift. It will now show that the tires are all good. Everything is ready to roll. And now if we rent the car, somebody can actually go race it. We don't get our XP until after somebody has actually raced the car. So we're going to go ahead and race it. It tells us it is race ready. The race duration is 5 hours. We service 3.8% of the car. We'll gain XP from a successful race. The engine runs. The car chassis is in a functional state. We got an A+ on our report. The following symptoms have been reported. We overfilled the engine oil. So we got a little bit on that. But anyways, we go ahead and rent it. And we should get our XP points for renting the car and getting it out there. Rental is in progress. That is done. So we got 40 XP points on there. Our next level is in 60 XP. Let's see. Latest reported symptoms. The engine oil is overfilled. So we're going to have to go, I guess, and drain the fluids on the engine and refill it so that it's not overfilled. So I do like that it looks at that little state and goes, oh, well, you overfilled the oil. It's a little tricky to get the oil filled to the right level, but you know, I would probably want to bring the car back in, put it on the lift, and drain the oil and actually get that right so that I can get maximum XP points. But anyway, that's something I'll fix and we'll get it raced and we'll move forward. If I race it one more time, I should get enough XP. If I fix that oil problem and I race it one more time, I should get enough XP to move on to the next level, which would be the brakes and suspension. So anyways, that's going to do it for today's video on our first look at Wrench. If you like the game, let me know in the comments down below. If you like the video, make sure you smack that like button for me. And if you want to see more content, make sure you let me know down below, and we'll do some more videos on this if you guys enjoy it. But anyways, thanks for watching today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And once again, if you want to check this game out, it is on Steam. It's $19.99 right now. It is early access, so keep that in mind. The game will change. The gameplay will change as the game gets further developed. But so far from what I've seen, it looks pretty interesting. I'm really interested to get into the engine and see what we can do with the engine. Just seeing all those gaskets that are available makes me pretty happy. So I even saw one thing over here on the desk too. Packing grease for bearings. That's of interest as well to me, that you're going to actually have to pack bearings. So pretty curious to see what level of detail goes in to this as we move forward in it. But anyways, that's going to do it for today. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Again, smash that like button, and I will see you next time. Take it easy. Bye-bye.